21st of September. Welcome to everyone. Item 1 on the agenda is apologies, and we have no apologies for absence. Councillor Alder.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just wish that perhaps we from this committee would wish Simon all the best and hope he soon gets really fit and well.
Thank you. I was going to include that in my chairman's announcement, but thank you very much. That's all right. Minutes, item 2 are the minutes from the 25th of May. If we can look at receiving this, Councillor Ruffles. Proposed. Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Demond. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. I think that's everyone, but anyone against? No. Any abstentions? No. Thank you. Item 3, declarations of interest. We always have the rolling declarations for members of local, town and parish councils. Do we have any other declarations of interest? No. Thank you. Item number 4, if everyone can talk into the microphones, please. These microphones are very sensitive, so we need to be up close to them. As Councillor Alder said, Simon O'Hear, our Chair of Human Resources and Organisational Strategy, is off on long-term sick at the moment. We wish him well and look forward to him being back with us. And you've got the best wishes of everyone in the committee. Thank you, Simon. We have standing in for him Ellie Starling. Welcome, Ellie. And she's our interim head of Human Resources. So thank you for standing in and while Simon's away. I have no other announcements, so we can move on to item 5, which is the health and safety minutes. 2 lots from the 3rd of May and the 30th of August, and these we are just receiving. Thank you to Peter Dickinson for being here to represent the health and safety. So we don't need to vote on these, do we? So we just need to receive those. Thank you. Item 6 on the agenda is the health and safety quarterly review. I know everyone will have read this. Peter, thank you for the very comprehensive report. An awful lot's been included in that, a lot of information. Has anyone got any questions for Peter on this report? Councillor Alder.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. It's on 8.2, the parks and open spaces. I just wanted to say that in Silversworth, when we had the opening of the Green Park in Fisherbury Park, it was a really well attended, very successful and an excellent occasion, very well publicised, and congratulations to all involved in organising it. Really well done.
Thank you, Councillor Alder. I hope that can be passed on to the other officers not here. Thank you. Councillor Demond.
Thank you very much. I think we were saying before, but it's worth noting here that often we don't have anything to say about the health and safety report, but that in itself is a good thing, because it's the world.
Absolutely.
I understand members agree that we had lots of comments and health and safety was going wrong. So the lack of comments shouldn't be seen as a negative, but a positive.
It absolutely is. You're quite right, because it covers everything in the council is covered by health and safety, because it's a priority for East Herts. So thank you very much for raising that. So if there are no other comments or questions, we just need to receive that. There's nothing new to vote on. Item number 7 is the annual equalities report. That's on pages 53 to 90. And it's actually Claire Kirby has prepared this. She could not be with us this evening, so I don't know if you want to say anything to it.
So I've gone through this with Claire. Unfortunately, she can't be here. I'm quite satisfied that what we're doing is the right thing for East Herts Council. There are some things I want to dig into a little bit more. We unfortunately lost part of the funding for the equalities job because that was part funded by the county, Herefordshire County Council. However, Hertfordshire. Sorry, it goes the other way as well. But I'm really certain that the plans that we're putting in place and the work we're doing will ensure that the equalities agenda is fully met through other means. Equalities is everybody's business, as well as health and safety is everyone's business as well. So we are making sure that we don't suffer from not having that post. And obviously we'll keep monitoring and making sure. Equalities training is really important for us as well. So we will make sure that the right people get all that as well. So I don't have anything else to add, but happy to take questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions, Councillor Dimond?
Thank you very much. You might have this information or you might not, but just looking at the report and the wider papers tonight in terms of how the council's performed with equality, in general, it's good. And we represent our population, at least as a minimum, it mirrors the population, and in some circumstances it's more. But one thing I did notice that work with the Shore Trust to advertise jobs and to attract more disabled applicants. And I think we had 4 disabled applicants and none was successful, and I'm sure that was the right decision at the time. It says that hasn't been progressed due to other work priorities and carried forward to next year, just to make sure that people of every protected characteristic are given equal attention by the council. I just wondered why that wasn't able to happen, and could that be a priority, because that does appear to be one group that we do need to attract more applicants and successful applicants as well.
Yes, I agree. That is definitely a priority. One of the things since I've been talking to all of the team about the workload they're carrying, what they're working on. We are having a team away day, not away day, we're going to sit in an office in here to go through what the priorities are. I agree that making sure that everybody has equitable access, and we encourage people from from smaller groups to apply for jobs is really important. So I think that was a comment based on 3 or 4 weeks ago. Now I'm in, and we can start then to reprioritize and decide what we're going to do. We must support East Herts, obviously. That is why we're paid, but there are other activities that we want to do. And actually, on the face of it, that isn't a massively arduous piece of work in terms of somebody's time. We can set systems up. So I will make sure that we have that full discussion about that, about how we might do that. And I can report back to you next time.
Thank you very much. As it did come across as perhaps it wasn't too arduous to send some adverts to Shore Trust. Maybe there's a lot more to it, I don't know, but it was just to make sure that does.
Yeah,
now.
and I need to investigate that further because I'm relatively new. I'm still playing the new girl card in some respects. So as soon as I understand that more, we can then work out the priorities and how we do that.
Thank you for that, Councillor Dimond. I picked up on that as well. But it's good to know that it's going to have more priority in the future. On page 66, about the 2021 census data. Now, we're working still on old data here. When is that data going to be available, please?
So the latest publication says that the phase 2 data, which we're waiting on, will be coming out winter this year or early next year. We're waiting for an exact date. The scuttlebutt seems to be indicating November, but we don't have an exact date yet. So as soon as we do, we can then refresh that.
Thank you. It's a very pleasing report. I think we're doing so much better than we were. I don't think we were ever really bad, but we are improving and doing so much better. So thank you to everyone involved. Any other questions on this equalities report, Councillor Dimond?
Just one more. On page 54, it says the leadership team has approved the report and the action plan on the 30th of September this year. So I presume that's August. Okay. yeah,
It's a typo. So we can feed that back. Thank you. Yeah, I will.
Well, I will,
Right.
I'll ensure that's changed for the
Thank you.
records.
Any any other questions on the equalities report? And what about the actions? Have we got any of the action report? Anyone got any comments or questions? I assume we're all the action plan. Everyone happy to move on with that? So in that case, please can I have a proposer? Councillor Alder and a seconder, Councillor McMullen. Thank you. All those in favour? Looks like everyone to me. Thank you. But anyone against? No. And any abstentions? No. Happy? Right. Okay. So we'll move on to item 8 on the agenda, the Human Resources Management Statistics Quarterly Report. Assume everyone has read this. Pleased to have Emily Caldwell with us. Thank you, Emily, for coming. Do you want to say anything? This is your report. Is there anything you wish to say before I ask for any comments?
No, if you've got any questions on the report, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions? Anyone? Councillor Alder.
Sorry. Right, I'll start again, Madam Chair. Chairman, I don't believe in chairs. The equalities monitoring indicators, and it's talking about gender. And it mentions specifically female. It doesn't actually mention male at all. Presume some of the rest of the 51% are male, but it would be helpful if we had numbers. And are these full-time equivalents or are they individual posts by part-time?
Yeah, that just goes over the post. It's not split out in between sort of part-time and full-time, but I can note that for next time if you prefer that. I can also add in the equivalent of people as well, so that's a percentage. And yes, you're right, 74% are female, so obviously the other is male, but if you prefer to see numbers as well, I can add number of people.
Chair, I think that would be very helpful to know numbers, because really one can't tell from this, it's just a percentage. The rest male, I assume they are.
Yes, correct.
But it would be helpful to know numbers in the different brackets as well, the team leadership and the employees. Thank you.
Thank you. On page 92 on the recruitment, I wonder if we can have an update, please, because as of this report, there are apparently no vacancies at all, but I'm sure there will be some roles. Could you give an update, please?
Yeah, so there is 20 vacancies that haven't commenced sort of recruitment yet, which are currently being covered by agency workers or just subject to different projects and reviews. Majority of those are in planning, and they just recently implemented their new restructure. So within the next 2 to 4 weeks, they'll be recruiting for all of their vacant posts. In the other areas, sort of legal and revs and bends, they had difficulty recruiting, so they put it on pause for the time being until they can have a look further into what sort of advertising campaigns they can do instead.
Thank you. Something to add?
So I guess one of my areas of expertise is recruitment of difficult posts. So I'll be working with Emily and other colleagues to say what can we do to attract people. Clearly, it's about the whole package, and so we need to think about how we best sell the whole package to make ourselves more attractive than the people down the road.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Councillor Dumont.
Thank you very much. I think on recruitment and looking at particularly the vacancies in planning, it's been an issue for a while, and it's not an issue that's just with our local authority. There's a national shortage of people. We have the London waiting problem being on the border. I think we've known these things for quite some time, and not for any second saying that it isn't a challenge, but this is certainly something that residents are coming to members about their planning applications and delays. So it is something that's important. And is there anything we can do to think differently or outside of the box, or can sort of any innovative way of doing it? Perhaps people who don't live in the area, but now people work remotely. Is there anything else that we can do to try and improve that? And could we see some more detail of that stuff being done in the future reports, please?
Yes, so recently in the planning restructure, sort of head of planning Sarah Saunders implemented sort of career graded posts for most of the roles within planning. So for a recruitment and retention sort of plan, so most of the posts in planning now are career graded, given that people can come in at a lower grade, then progress and move forward. There was a lot of on our exit interviews, a lot of people were saying that there was no sort of career development within the planning department. So we've sort of implemented that. And as I said, these are about to go out advert in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So we'll see if that's made a difference, if that attracts anybody and retains our staff.
Thank you, Councillor Ball.
Yeah, just on planning again. I think one of the things going to be useful that some of the plans, the small amount, that don't need too much studying, if for the want of a better word, they're going to try and get them through quicker, aren't they? So that will help the situation as well in the planning department. I'm right in thinking that, am I? Or is that just talked about and not being done?
The junior roles progressing on, or having funding to do qualifications?
Yeah, it's the plans that have just got a slight extension or nothing big at all, that really could be rubber stamped,
Okay, yeah, they are in post already. So that's one of our easier to recruit areas within planning, those sort of junior level posts.
Right, okay, thank you.
And I think, there are other tools that we have that we can explore to use. We have, at the moment, East Herts doesn't use some of the HR policies that are there for it, in terms of remuneration, for instance. So one of the things I'm going to be looking at is how could we make proposals to use things, but we need to then do a full analysis of what's going on around us, because at the moment we get a lot of people saying, oh yeah, have you seen this, have you seen that? But actually, so I've just joined the Hertfordshire Heads of HR group, because I'm going to try and milk them for all the information I can get about what our competition really truly is, and not people just making throwaway comments, because whatever we do, we get one bite at it, because if it doesn't work, then it sort of backfires on us. So that's one of the things over the next 2 or 3 weeks I'm going to be really looking at, to say what really are we up against, how can we sell ourselves, and how we can compete. But that will require some money at the end of the day, I'm sure. But we'll have to come across that, we'll cross that bridge when we have proper proposals. Does that make sense?
That's really helpful, thank you. And so following on from that comparison and benchmarking is really interesting and important, probably. So in the same way, our employee turnover and sickness statistics look really good. How do they compare to other local authorities, though? I mean, I don't know if you, I know you're the new girl on the block, but I don't know if either of you have any of that information, do you, please?
I don't think we do at the moment. It's all anecdotal still. I think, judging by where geographically everyone is based, we've got Essex on the borders, we've got London boroughs, we've got beds. I think everyone's going to be in a very similar position, but I don't know that for definite. So again, I'll be working with the group, the HR group for Hertfordshire, to understand that, and actually going beyond that, because we need to understand really what what the issues are across the piece, nationally and within Hertfordshire, but also a little bit wider than that as well.
That's helpful, thank you. Any other questions? On page 97, I was looking at the training record, Looks great. Some really good quality training by the look of it. But what sort of percentage of staff are attending this training? I mean, is it a few people attending a lot of training, or have we got more staff attending than we have done before? And how is that monitored? I mean, is that just picked up through the personal performance appraisal system, or have you got some kind of log on how the training record is working across the whole council?
As a percentage wise, I would say about like 10% of staff are attending these training. It's sort of scope from the appraisal system. Yeah. So the HR and IOD manager will scope the training plan based on sort of individual needs. We do advertise it frequently sort of in our communications and on the internet. I think it's more who's able to do the training. A lot of these are online as well, and it's just sort of comparing how successful these trainings are rather than in face-to-face training. So the resilience workshops have been, I think, 7 out of the 8, and they're all virtual. We do have the recorders on YouTube that people can watch after, but it's how well they're getting delivered virtually on Zoom rather than sort of face-to-face.
So work in progress then. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions on this report? I think we've considered it. Thank you very much, Emily. It was a good report. So the proposal is just that we consider it, isn't it? We don't have to vote on this. It's just, we just receive that. All right. Thank you very much. Item number 9 is the Human Resources and Payroll Team Update Report. And Ellie, this is your talking to, oh, when you've finished, do you need a drink of water? Not a problem. Yeah, I don't have to move away. Thank you for staying, Peter. Normally you, but thank you. That's all right. We'd rather you survived the meeting. So item number 9, this is on pages 101 to 107 of the documentation.
So in terms of the overall update, so the HR payroll system continues to have some challenges for us, but we're working through them. We have a very highly skilled and highly knowledgeable payroll manager who is leading the charge on that, if you will. We do share a payroll system with Stevenage. I haven't had a chance to look into it, but there are some amendments we need. I think that's fair to say. So it ties up with the sickness system and everything. So we're working through that. We are completing, sorry. Sorry. Apologies, I've got this really bad cough. So in terms of the training and development as well, we've had the Art of Brilliance in, which was an 8 workshop offer. Going back to your point earlier, Councillor Bolton, a lot of people signed up for all 8 because they saw it as a continuum for themselves. We now need to get that learning out to other people as well. Corporate induction is working. There's a real strong push to have a future managers program as part of our succession planning. We are having we've got an aging workforce profile. We need to start thinking about the future. We need to start getting people ready. That is part of our offer to people, that we will have a future manager program. So started looking at that. One of the things as a result of the wellbeing survey is we're finding that people prefer face-to-face learning in a lot of ways. Zoom is fine, but people can easily turn off their camera and we don't know what they're doing really. So we're trying to look at how can we have more face-to-face learning, having an aspirant leaders course and developing our management development training even further. So that some of the stuff that we're seeing can be handled by managers a lot more easily. Because as we shrink the HR department, which we've done, a lot of the work that we've been doing, we just can't do, and actually should sit with a manager. So we're trying to do that work as well. We'll be doing surgeries for managers. So that's really where we are in terms of the learning side. We are really keen to get a far more structured learning plan out there. And this is not, please don't think this is me saying that things didn't go well before. I'm just saying that where we are now is a little bit different to where we were when Simon was fit and well, and we just need to corral all of our resources and understand what the organisation needs to move forward. The East Hearts Together group is something I'm really keen that we continue. If we're going to have proper transformation, we need staff involved. They can't be done to. It never, change doesn't work if you do too. So the East Hearts group, as far as I can see, will become a focus for getting staff involved in some of the transformation work we need to do. And they'll also be involved in some of the initiatives we need to put together for the wellbeing survey, for the response to the wellbeing survey. I've had the initial cut of that from Claire this afternoon. I need to look at that. We will produce a proper report. I'm really keen that we don't have an action plan for this and an action plan for that. I think it would be best served if we have a people plan that covers everything. So we'll be feeding what we need to do as a result of the wellbeing survey into the action planning for everything else. Because what I've learned over the years is if everyone shoots off and does something that nobody realizes where they're overlapping or where they're impacting on everybody else. So we're going to try and pull it all together as one big people plan. So that will include an enhanced offer for learning, and that will include all of the other bits we need to do about what does it feel like to work in East Hearts? Is there anything we need to do to support staff a little bit more? So that's the sort of things I'm thinking of. Again, I'm interim, so I don't want to undermine any other plans, but it seems to make sense to me to start down a road like this, that when Simon comes back, him and the team, brilliant team, can actually follow through. So that's really where I am. So if there's any other questions you've got, please feel free to ask me now. I'll answer what I can.
Thank you very much. And we do have a brilliant team. Thank you. Questions? No. Yeah, no, I've got some too. Oh, Councillor Newton.
Thank you very much. 5.3. Services provided to external organisations. These are brilliant. I'll start with that. They're variable and everybody's got different issues. And my question is, in providing the service, obviously, I would imagine to the staff and managers of other boroughs, parish, town councils, where is the division and what is available should any members of any of those councils wish to have HR advice separately from that structure? Is it there?
To be quite frank, I don't know. However, what I would say, if there's anything that falls outside service level agreement we have to deliver services, then contact me and we can talk it through. I need to get under the skin of the trading. The trading is great, but the priority has to be East Hearts. For me, we have to get East Hearts, everything running smoothly for East Hearts. And what capacity we have left, then we can trade. We're making sure that all of our income washes its face, because we were charging not a lot for what you would pay a solicitor, probably 5 or 6 times as much for in terms of advice. So we've adjusted stuff. But to your question, I really need to talk to Jane when she's back, because she's been doing the traded stuff. And then I can respond to you after that. But in the meantime, just give me a call or drop me a line. Is that okay?
Thank you, Councillor Newton. Yes, that's one of the questions I had. It's good that there's new revised pricing structure, but who's it favourable to, us or whoever we're charging?
Yeah, I mean, we're covering our costs at the moment. Well, no, that's not quite right. What we charge covers our costs. I'm not convinced we're charging for everything we do, the odd 10 minutes here and the odd 5 minutes. So that's one of the reasons we're having this big team event, is to track every single thing to say, what are we doing? Because with a small resource, we have to make sure we maximise the resource, and also make sure that the staff in the team get a lot of job satisfaction in what they deliver as well. So we need to look out for the team as well.
Thank you. Councillor Demond?
Thank you. I see that you've introduced the applicant tracking system from the beginning of last month. I think it's the first time we've met, so I work in recruitment myself, which is why I often have a lot of questions on these subjects. So I often see it in my professional life that when a new system is brought in, sometimes the process can all stop, because implementing and change is difficult, particularly for hiring managers. Now, I'm sure that the managers have been well trained at East Herts, but I just wondered who's got kind of ownership of the system to make sure that the users are properly trained, know how to use it, and CVs, particularly in something like planning, when it's so key, and I'm not getting lost in the system, and the system's actually working to our benefit and not causing delays while we implement it. Does that make sense?
I have to say, though, I don't fully know the answer to it at the moment. Emily, in terms of the new ATS then, is that me?
So yeah, Claire Kirby looks after the ATS managers. We have had training on it. All the managers have had training. The training is also recorded, so they can sort of re-watch it, or if they can attend a session, they can look at it. They've got the contact details for the supplier as well, so customer service for any issues. I check in my managers on a monthly basis for any recruitment to see if they've got any issues with it, or obviously they can just drop me a line if they've got any problems with it. So far, I've had a few vacancies, and it seems to be working well. So I've not had any concerns from hiring managers as of yet.
Very good to hear. Thank you, Emily.
Can I just add something to that, though, because that's about the technicality of the system working. There is something about the way in which managers approach recruitment that we need to make sure they're doing it properly. So, for instance, with planners, if you get CV in, you need to turn it around then. You can't say, I'll look at that in 2 days' time, because Stevenage will have got them. So there is something about, and I've spoken to Richard about this, about reviewing the training for recruiting managers to get them to think about the stuff before the interview, about all of the stuff to on board from the first time you put your advert out till the time that you've interviewed someone and offered them a job and started them, and that whole journey. And I think I might be wrong, and I hope I am, but I don't think every recruiting manager will understand or be following that in a way that's helpful. There's no point in getting 5 CVs for a job and not looking at them until 3 or 4 days after the job's closed. So that's the practice. I think we need to just make sure that managers are following good practice to maximise our opportunity to get good staff.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments, Councillor Newton?
Sorry. Yes, 7.3. It's interesting that the HR officer has continued working with the provider on developing the overtime module of my view, which quite a few of us didn't manage to access, to allow employees to submit claims through an online portal, which will cease the paper process. Very good. But it says it did not, unfortunately, progress as hoped. And I was just curious as to why. And so has been paused until further updates can be provided. Because everything nowadays is a portal. Everything's online. Everybody ceases to talk on the phone or have an email. But I'm just curious why amongst employees who are trained to use these things, why it wasn't taken up as expected?
This is because the module is easy to build and obviously we can train staff on using it. But Simon, before going on sick leave, wanted to review the actual policy itself that we have on overtime. So before I could sort of build any module or online portal for this, he wanted to review the actual policy behind it.
Well, yeah, that makes it clear then. Yes, understand. Yes.
Good answer, thank you. Any other questions? No, I haven't got any others. So if no other comments or questions, this is just for considering and noting. isn't it? So item 10 was urgent business. I've had nothing notified to me. Nope. That's the end of the meeting then. Thank you very much and thank you to the staff for attending. Thank you.